Hello again. Today, we will be talking about the different ways there are to understand God and its relationship with the world. As you may know, God is not for everyone the charismatic bearded Lord. And I'm not talking about the different religions. I'm talking about the different ways of interpreting its nature or structure throughout philosophies and religions. Let's begin. First, let's talk about theism. In theism, the belief in the existence of at least one God or supreme being who created and governs the universe is upheld. Additionally, this divine being has influence and control over the affairs of the world. According to various religions, God can manifest through faith and seeks to reveal himself to us. An example would be a Christian believer praying to God for a family member's health. In this case, God has the ability to hear the prayer and act as deemed necessary. Theism, in turn, can be divided into two branches. Monotheism, where there is only one supreme God who rules the universe, as in Christianity or Judaism. And then we have polytheism, where several gods are worshipped and recognized, each with specific attributes and responsibilities, as in Hinduism or ancient Greek mythology, where we have different gods like Apollo, Zeus, or Ares. While most religions are theistic, there are also non-theistic belief systems like Buddhism and Taoism. It can be assumed that at least 70% of the population falls within theism, regardless of whether they strictly adhere to their religion. There are various theistic philosophers, such as St. Augustine or Aristotle. Next, we have Deism. Yes, with a D. Deism is the belief that God exists and is the creator of reality, but unlike theism, he does not actively intervene in the affairs of the world or individual lives. In Deism, God is not likened to a human, nor to anything familiar to us. God does not morally judge any action, nor does he listen to prayers. Deists reject conventional religions and faith without ceasing to believe in God. Many deists base their belief on reason and empirical evidence rather than relying on divine revelation or sacred scriptures. For deist philosophers, it is important to try to understand the structure and nature of God rationally. Deism was particularly prominent during the 18th century Enlightenment when rational and scientific thinking gained ground. The philosopher Voltaire, for example, was a deist, basing his belief rationally on arguments such as the first cause or the argument of design. Then there is Pantheism. This position maintains that reality itself is identical to God, nature is God, and there is nothing outside of it. Unlike Deism, which portrays a transcendent and distant God, Pantheism suggests that God is immanent in nature and that everything in the universe is a manifestation of divinity. It rejects the idea that God is distinct from the universe or our reality. We ourselves are in part God, and divinity is present in matter and energy. God has always existed, and therefore so have we. There was no one who created it. Some religions like Taoism can be considered pantheistic, although it can also be considered panentheistic. Speaking of panentheism, an posture similar to pantheism is Panentheism. Close to Eastern philosophies, it indicates that the universe is God himself, like pantheism, but God does not stop there. In this case, God, unlike pantheism, transcends reality. God is not simply identical to creation, but is intimately connected to it. So, even in God, there could be many or infinite universes or realities. It's as if our reality were the arm of God. Yes, we are God, but there is more God, so to speak. Silly explanation, but it's for us to understand better. For some religions, God is considered as the soul or life force of the universe. God is not merely a creator who established the laws of the universe and then withdrew, but is actively involved in the development and sustenance of the cosmos. Against all these beliefs is the well-known atheism, which considers that there is no kind of God and that there is no valid reason to believe that God exists. It not only rejects religions, considering them a way of controlling the masses or unjustified beliefs, but also rejects all kinds of interpretations of God. Atheism is not a belief system in itself. Rather, it is a lack of belief in gods. Atheists may arrive at their position through different paths, including skepticism, rationalism, or a focus on empirical evidence. The philosopher Nietzsche is one of the most famous atheist philosophers. Today, at least 6% of the population is atheist, but in the modern era, atheism has become more visible, with prominent figures advocating for secularism and the recognition of atheistic perspectives. Lastly, there is agnosticism. This is interesting. And no, it's not exactly about I don't know or I'm not sure as you may think. The agnostic does not exactly refuse to give an answer because they don't know. Rather, they assert that there is no way to know. If God transcends us and exists, it is impossible for us to interpret or prove his existence because he is beyond us. And if God does not exist, we have no 100% sure way to prove that something transcending us does not exist. Therefore, it's absurd to spend our efforts trying to know if God exists or not, and both an answer and its opposite have the same validity and invalidity. The American astrophysicist, the host and co-writer of the television series Cosmos, Carl Sagan, was an agnostic. What do you think? What is your perspective on God? Comment below, and if you see someone with a different opinion than yours, fight with them because you are right and they are not. Or don't do that and understand that these perspectives are mere conceptual frameworks, and the understanding of God can be unique for each person. Even two theists can have different interpretations of God. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to know more about history, philosophy, mathematics, or anything that comes to my mind. And also, feel free to leave a like. I hope I'll see you next video. Bye.